See your boyfriend?
No. Who needs it? We're young, might as well have fun while we can.
Wait. What happens if you fall in love?
I think this is Marc Webb, director of 500 Days of Summer. If you want to see a movie about romance that's funny, that's not necessarily a romantic comedy, though maybe it is.
Hi, I'm Michael Weber, co-writer of 500 Days of Summer. If you're tired of how they've been making romantic comedies, coming-of-age stories that have been coming from Hollywood, this is a movie for you. I promise it'll be different. And if you've ever been in a relationship or liked someone more than they liked you, I think you're going to respond to this.
I think we should stop seeing each other.
Just like that?
Just like that.
We've been like Sid and Nancy for months now.
We have some disagreements, but I hardly think I'm Sid Vicious.
No, I'm Sid.
Oh, so I'm Nancy.
It's not really about gender to us, and I think it's about a phase of your life. It's about youth, and it's about a naive version of romance, which is very relatable and very sympathetic because we've all been there. And I think if you can have tolerance, or if you can invoke those memories of what it's like to be in his shoes, then I think you can relate to the film.
In the movie, there is a quote of the writer Henry Miller, who says, if you want to overcome a bad relationship, you have to transform the woman into a literary figure. Is it the reason why you, Marc Webb, did that movie?
One of the writers who's not here, Scott, it started off with some of his experiences. But
He went through a nasty breakup, and I was there for him as a friend in the first moment. But in the next moment, I said, we should be writing this down. Actually, we wanted to tell a story like this for a long time, but we really needed we were missing the relationship, and I was in a relationship for a long time at that point, and he had gone through this breakup, and that was sort of our jumping off point, and wanting to really just do an honest portrayal of a relationship and a breakup. And now I think there's probably stuff from all of us in there of all the trauma we've experienced, and right. we thank those women.
I think, yeah.
If you go through something like this, write a movie.
The boy, Tom Hansen, grew up believing that he'd never truly be happy until the day he met the one. The girl, Summer Finn, did not share this belief. You should know up front, this is not a love story.
In the movie, a friend of Tom is talking about love, and he tells him love is not a question of fate, love is a question of coincidence. Do you fully agree?
I think the narrator talks about coincidence. I think what Tom likes to think at the beginning of the movie is that fate is going to come in and the universe is going to conspire in your favor and will give you love, and everything's going to be solved and everything's going to be great. And you hang your hopes on that. I think if you do that, if you don't take responsibility for your relationships and for your romance, that's going to come to bite you in the ass. I think that love requires maintenance, it requires care. It's much more complicated than when one likes to believe. And I think what part of Tom's problem is he on some level, it's vanity or laziness masquerading as hopeless romance. But the truth is, as you grow older, you realize that you have to, it takes effort. And I think what Tom's arc in the movie is, at the beginning of the movie, he's not really a man. He's afraid to ask this girl out, and he's totally befuddled by this. He thinks the universe was just supposed to make this work out. And when it doesn't work out the way he expects it to, though I think it does work out in some way, he finds that very frustrating and heartbreaking because his view of the world is challenged. But I think ultimately what we say is like, listen, there is such thing as love, but it's not always what you expect it to be.
Let's talk about the actor Joseph Gordon-Levitt, who plays Tom.
I was talking to Joe and I said, who do you think, if we were to cast you, who do you think could play Summer? And we went through some sort of obvious bigger names, and then he's like, but really the person that should play this is Zoe. Because they had been in a movie together a few years ago and they had known each other, and he's like, she would understand the character she has. He really thought she was magnificent, and he said, the way he said Zoe, like his eyes sort of melted and he had this look, and I was like, that's Tom. You know, that is who this is. That's the dynamic. And I met Zoe, and she had, of course, great respect for Joe. And I knew from that moment, the way he looked, like that's what I can hang the movie on. And Joe, the other thing about Joe is he's not a comedian in the sense that he's more of a straight man. He doesn't reach for jokes. He's not always throwing out, you know, zingers. But he's always finding the truth, the emotional truth at the underbelly of the scene. And this movie is a very whimsical movie. There's a lot of license and goofiness and playfulness. But if you don't have that emotional center, you can fly off. And the sort of the jokes that we may have lost at the beginning, we gain an emotional sort of resonance at the end of the film, which I think is really crucial.
There's a different version of this movie. If it's comedians instead of actors, it's more relatable with actors, because when they're going through the pain, you feel that pain, and they're not going for the joke. It's a better movie too, and in a way, it actually is a funnier movie, because then the jokes play as a contrast to the other more serious, dramatic moments.
And you laugh not at the satire of it, but you laugh at because you've been in that situation before, and it's relatable and it's a human. You're like, oh, a little bit uncomfortable because you know that feeling, and I think that's a more satisfying kind of comedy, ultimately.
But get over her. I don't want to get over her. I want to get it back.
E lo sceneggiatore Michael Webber, a cui dobbiamo 500 Days of Summer. Welcome.
Grazie al Festival Locarno e a tutto il team dei Fox Searchlight. È un grande onore avere la nostra piccola commedia qui sulla Piazza Grande. Sarò breve. Questo è un film che mostra cosa succede quando la vita che ti immagini si scontra con la verità.
Yeah.